Hey, it's Freddie Kluth here, and I am up in Lake Woonballback, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful, icy, cold day, and I'm thinking a lot about my life these days. I'm sure that all of you are too, and the stories we tell ourselves, and how do we change these stories? How do we change these stories? I think the first thing we have to do is embrace the stories and say, these are stories that I'm telling myself. These are, the records that I play over and over again in my mind. And sometimes they skip, and sometimes they get scratched, and sometimes they get worn out. And if you're like me, I'm so tired of some of these stories. I am so tired of the stories I tell myself about failure or inconsistency or limitations. I'm exhausted by them, and I want to change. So how am I going to change? How am I going to make these changes in my life? Well, I'll tell you, I am acknowledging them. I'm acknowledging these old stories that I have. And when I start telling myself these stories, I am bringing mindfulness. Oh yeah, mindfulness to those stories so that I can pause and say, that's not a story I need to tell. This is not a story that's not necessarily true anymore. Maybe it was true one day, but it doesn't have to be true all the time. And so when I hear myself telling these stories, I'm going to pause and I'm going to reject them. And I'm going to say, that's not my story anymore. And I'm going to put in a new story. A story about how the universe loves me, provides for me, cares for me. Right? And then I'm going to see what happens. So when I get into my pain vortex, my despair, my cold wasteland of feelings, it's so beautiful, it's not even a cold wasteland of feelings, I'm going to be able to pause and say, I'm going to weave in a new story, and I'm going to let go of the old story. What's a good example? For years I worked in advertising, and the story was that I needed to do this, and that this destroyed my soul, but I had to do it. It's the only thing that was my option, but it was killing me. Right? That's a terrible story to have in my head. Granted, the advertising, it was a fine job. It was hard, and a lot of times I was working with people I didn't like, or I'm working with brands I wasn't into or felt morally compromised. And it was really hard, but the story that I was cursed, literally a story that I'm cursed to work in advertising and that I can't follow a creative path, that's a terrible story to carry around. Good God, I'm not cursed. Maybe I got locked in a thought pattern. Maybe my punk rock soul feels like, shit, I don't want to do this crap anymore. And that's a whole different story. So what does your punk rock soul want? What kind of crazy, rebellious, loving, wonderful world do you want to weave? And how do you get that kind of life? So I'm going to start by saying, I'm not cursed. I'm free from curses. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. And I reject that thought. I love that thought. That thought was fun. And it was a great story. Punk rock story saying advertising's killing my soul. But I don't need it anymore. I could be punk rock in other ways. And yeah, I don't look very punk rock. No, I don't. I got my fuzzy hat, my my dad beard and all that shit. But deep down in my heart, there's a punk rocker, my 17-year-old punk rocker who lives and breathes still in me. But that's really funny. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So when I feel these thoughts coming up, I'm going to just embrace them and say, thank you. You served me well at one point, but I don't need you anymore. The universe provides for me, loves me, cares for me, gives me so much support. And I'm going to make the changes I need. And I'm going to attract the clients I want and the workshops I have and the students. And I'm going to transform my life so that if I feel like working in advertising is a curse, I'm going to stop working in advertising. There's a billion ways to make a living on this planet. There's a billion jobs out there. And I can make money, and the universe wants me to be a success. And, I have this co-creative energy inside me. I have my mind, right? Mind that worries and tells me crazy shit all the time. And I have my heart, and I have my horror space, this womb space where there's thousands and thousands of clusters of nerves, and all these parts of me inform me. It's not just this hairy noggin. Well, it's not really that hairy. You can't really see under my hat. But you know what I mean. It's not just the brain that's controlling things. It's this unity of heart, body, and spirit and mind, and which brings me to this beautiful place today. And I have a lovely, supportive group of people behind me, my family and my friends, and I'm so blessed. And I can really help manifest a new world of grace and peace and love through being a good listener and being a good friend and being a good teacher. And, that's my path, and I'm embracing it and loving it. Loving it. So I don't have to feel I'm locked in. So when those thoughts about feeling like I'm cursed or that there's only one path, I just need to stop and pause and remind myself that that's just a story, and I have another story, a beautiful story to write. And I don't have to feel cursed, and I don't have to feel trapped. And when I do, I'll just acknowledge it and then let it go. And then slowly and surely, or miraculously quickly, new opportunities are going to arise. And I'm going to see the world through different colored lenses. I'm going to see them through my eyes. And know that I love you and I appreciate you. And I'm here for you. So if you need any support, you need a one-on-one session, you need some coaching, you need somebody to cry with, I'm here. And I'm just, reach out to me and book a session. And look out for my classes. I'm going to do a class this spring, Writing in the 7 Chakras. It's an awesome class. It's do creative writing exercises while exploring all the different chakras, and look at your stories that you tell yourself from your birth that are embedded into these energy vortexes in your life. And how do you change? How do you make a new choice so that you can bring upon the love and grace that you want in your life? All right, it's cold. I got to go inside. Another look at the beautiful view. And together we can work on removing those curses. Okay, have a great day. Bye.